Hello everybody and welcome to the final round of the 2021 GP4 Formula E Offline Championship. We are here at the outer layout of the Bahrain International Circuit in Sakhir for the final round of the season, the Manama ePrix. And of course we have a title decider on our hands in both the Drivers and Teams Championship. I'm your commentator for today, JW97, and I'm joined today by Blake Moore.
Good afternoon and evening, everyone. We're here in Bahrain for the final race of the season. Joe, well, I got this. This is going to be a titanic battle for the championship here in Shakir.
Yes, indeed. And we've got 3 drivers who are still in mathematical contention for the driver's title and 2 teams in mathematical contention for the team's title as we're about to get underway for the final qualifying session of the season. Of course, there's 3 drivers who can still win the title, of course. They are Santino Andreoli, Michael Mocho, and Brandon Jackson. Jackson is more of an outsider as he is 19 points back from the from championship leader Santino Andreoli. So realistically, I think it is between Andreoli and Mocho for the title, as only 6 points separate the pair then. The championship being blown wide open at the last race of the Dubai ePrix after a crash involving Santino Andreoli and another competitor, which I can't remember who it was. But either way, it blew the championship wide open. In the team's championship, it's between Audi and Mercedes, but it's looking more likely that Audi will probably grab that title as they are 33 points clear of Mercedes going into this race. And Yuri's just clarified it was Duccelli that was the driver that Andreoli crashed with in Dubai. But 33 points separate Audi and Mercedes, so Mercedes really need both of their drivers to finish here in Sakhir if they want any chance of winning the team's title today. But yeah, it should be a very, very interesting finale indeed. And the first one on track is one of the championship contenders, that being Brandon Jackson in the BMW I Andretti Motorsport. And it's kind of an end of an era for Andretti in this race because for the final time this season, it's the final time that we will see the BMW name in Formula E, as after this race they are splitting with Andretti. Andretti will be going at it on their own as BMW will be focusing solely on their partnership with McLaren, not just in the top class but also in World Champ Car, and also still continuing a slight partnership with Pyramid Racing in World Champ Car, albeit at a customer team level. So really Jackson really wants to try and end this partnership with BMW and Andretti on a high, really, Blake.
Yeah, and also it'll be good for the brand as well because Brandon is British, and it will be good for McLaren because British driver, British manufacturer equals British driver winning the Formula E World Championship. That's good for the brand name. Hopefully, Jackson could do a good outside the chance for the championship. Now let's go on to the lap on this shortened version of Bahrain. I'm gonna let you take it away, Joe.
Yes, indeed. The outer layout of Bahrain, a very popular layout as what we saw back in 2020 in real life. Jackson making his way down towards the first corner, where we're probably going to see one of many overtaking opportunities in this race. Through turn 2, which is flat, and through turn 3 as well, which is also flat out, but it goes slightly uphill as you make your way up towards turn 4. This is where we could see some more overtaking being done in this race. We did see plenty of it last season as well. Up towards turn 4, then goes Brandon Jackson in the BMW. Through the right hand he goes, then flat through the left he goes, which takes you onto the outer layout of the track. Of course, the first part of it is quite familiar because people remember that from the endurance layout. But once they come out of the chicane, we're not going to be turning off right onto that boring layout. We're going to go straight on and head back onto that back straight where there could be some overtaking or maybe some bump and runs as well into that final corner. But we will see. As Jackson now, they're making his way down towards the final corner now then. Or the final 2 corners, as I say, because for some reason that kink after it is classed as a corner. But anyway, in this 11 corner track as it's officially classified, Jackson comes down the pitch straight. And what is the benchmarker time going to be from the BMW I Andretti Motorsport driver? It is going to be, as he's going to cross the line, a 1 minute 8.976. Ionescu across the line, he goes quicker by 0.2 of a second. Here comes Dominic Tuccelli in the Nissan. He's now going to cross the line. What can he manage? And he goes into 3rd position. Mohamed Razan in the Porsche, he's going to cross the line. The Indonesian driver making his way across the line, and he goes into 4th. Jacob Tobler in the Mahindra, he now crosses the line and he's going to go into 4th position, gets in front of Razin. In fact, here comes Aji Prazan, Razin's fellow compatriot. He goes 5th, made that 6th now because Andreoli goes into 3rd, the championship leader. 3rd now for Wojciech Kulizek. Here comes Denis Parachki, he now goes into 3rd. Here comes Rafael Demel now, then he crosses the line and he goes into 7th place. Nguyen Min Kwan crosses the line and he goes into 6th position. Kochi Cheong now then in the 2nd Mahindra, he now crosses the line. What can the Malaysian driver achieve? And he goes into 12th. Ross Denholm goes 2nd using a bit of slipstream there from Kochi Chian in front, and he's only 3 thousandths off of Ionescu, who's currently at the top of the timing sheets. But still, Michael Mocho is still yet to set a time because, of course, 13 drivers go out at a time, of course, to avoid that pit lane glitch that sometimes happens in these Formula E cars. And on the topic of the Formula E cars, for anybody who was on Discord, of course, you may have seen that Yuri made a bit of an announcement in the suggestions and opinions chat. And he announced that next season's Formula E cars, there will be a slight tweak to the physics next season. The cars are going to be 50 kilograms lighter and will have 10% more downforce. And so, obviously, something to look forward to there. And hopefully, we shouldn't have any of those buggy issues that we've had at certain tracks that we've had this season. And hopefully, it should also fix this little pit lane issue that we've had, Blake.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And and hopefully, and everyone will just go out on track once. And also, it makes the lap more. What's the word? More challenging because there could be traffic on that specific lap. So, yeah.
And with the cars being lighter, you could expect maybe some more oversteer from these cars as well. So obviously something to look out for there. But
Yeah.
The 13 cars that did the lap are now back in the pit lane. As mentioned, Ionescu currently at the top, but only by 3 thousandths of a second ahead of Ross Denholm. Michael Mocho is still yet to come out onto the racetrack in the Mercedes, but we should expect him to be out next up as well in the next group of cars to come out. Still 9 cars, of course, still yet to do a lap around here at the Bahrain Outer layout. And given that the maximum is about 16 laps, I do wonder if we're going to potentially see a chance of the session finishing potentially early or not. I didn't quite catch qualifying last season, so I'm not too familiar with it, but we'll wait and see, of course. Anyway, Marvo Koenig in the BMW i Andretti car. He's making his way out on the track, and it has been quite a tricky season for the German, it's fair to say, and he definitely wants to finish this disappointing season on a high, Blake.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, especially, and he was absolutely unlucky throughout the season. I'm going to give you an example, Road Atlanta and Estoril, where his car just literally just gave up on him. So hopefully he can lead the BMW team, hopefully with a smile on his face or just a massive disappointment on his face, because hopefully he can make some good ground.
Well, in actual fact, he actually won at Estoril. I think it might have been Portimao. You may have been Jackson, yeah. I think you may have been referring to another race anyway that Koenig may have had some bad luck. But either way, it has been quite a disappointing year for BMW Andretti. In a way, you could say Jackson is very lucky to still be in the title fight, given all the mechanical failures that he has had this season. And, well, he can still win the title, of course, if anything happens to both Andreoli and Mocho in this race. But, of course, we will wait and see. As Koenig is about to start his lap, there's still a few cars yet to go out on track, so I wonder if Koenig's going to get any traffic by the time he gets down towards turn 1, which is at now. I did see somebody was coming out onto the track, and there is a car on track, but I'm not sure if Koenig's going to get held up by that driver or not. It looks like he's got a bit of a gap to, I think that is the Mercedes in front. I think that might be Michael Mocho, in fact, that's just come out on track, as Koenig finds himself 2 tenths down. No, in fact, it's a Nissan. I do apologise. It's not a Mercedes. They do have quite similar liveries, both the Nissan and the Mercedes. But anyway, Koenig was 2 tenths down on the Ionescu in that first sector, as he now makes his way through into the S's now then of the outer layout, through into this left-right chicane, which doesn't actually break the flow of the track up, surprisingly, mainly because it's a fast sequence of corners, really, as Koenig finds some time in the middle sector, maybe using the slipstream of that Nissan in front, and it looks like Koenig's going to overtake the Nissan going down to the last corner. I think it might be Dominic Decelli, in fact, that he's got past down into there, which he has done, so I wonder how much time he's gained from the slipstream there. Let's see, Marvo Koenig making his way down the pit straight, and across the line will come the German driver. Can he go to the top of the timing sheets? Across the line he will go now then, and no, he can't. He loses time in the last sector and goes 10. Maybe a little bit of awkward angle going into the final corner there. Here comes Leighton Aviard in at the Porsche. He now crosses the line and he goes into 3rd position. A very good first lap for him. Tilsley's about to start lap, as is Michael Mocho very, very soon, as Carpenter finds himself, I think that's it, 6 tenths down in the middle sector, as the Irishman now then comes around final corner now then. And of course, last time out, Carpenter actually got a podium last time out at the Dubai Autodrome, so looking to build on that here at the final race here at the Bahrain Outer layout. But Carpenter is going to cross the line, and he goes only 16 for that time. Not the best first lap for him. Sana Choi now then in the Neo. She's now going to come across the line, and what can she manage? She now comes across the line and she goes into 14th position. Jaswant Kumar now then in the Neo. He now crosses the line and he goes into 15th, slots behind his teammate there. Wojtek Kulizek up on his personal best, but loses time and doesn't improve. Same goes for Kochi Chiang, and Enes Parachki, he doesn't improve and stays where he is. Alex Broster goes into 6th position in the Virgin. Kochun Chiang across the line he goes into 14th. Dominic Tichelli, who of course got overtaken, I think, by Koenig, he doesn't improve and stays where he is. Here comes Jake Tilsley in the Jaguar across the line. He will now go. So to do a time, of course, but what is his first lap going to be? Tilsley across the line he goes, and he goes only 12 at that time, 5 tenths off of Ionescu. Here comes Michael Mocho, one of the championship contenders. What can he do on this lap now then? He's nearest his rival, Andrioli, currently sits in 8th so far in the session. Where's Mocho going to go? Across the line he goes, and he goes into 8th, slots just in front of Andrioli there. So 8th for Mocho, 9th for Andrioli, and Jackson's ahead of both of them in 4th position, as these guys are now making their way back into the pits. But I wouldn't be surprised if people are going to make their way back out onto the track very, very quickly, given how short this racetrack is. But either way, Blake, Ionescu's still at the top of the timing sheets.
Yes, and I was literally expecting to see a tier 3 car in second place that close to a tier 1 car. I don't know what was Stenholm drinking last night, but that's some good pace from the Scotsman.
Indeed so. Of course, he did have help with a bit of slipstream earlier on, but still, second place to be 3,000th of Ionescu is a pretty good going. Whether or not he can improve on that, or whether Ionescu can stretch that advantage, we'll have to wait and see, as Mocho is making his way back into pit lane, as he currently lies in 8th position. If it were to stay like that in the race, of course, then Andrioli would win the title, because, of course... Mocho comes into this race 6 points behind Andrioli, and if it were to stay like that, then Andrioli would win it by 4 points. Jackson, of course, as mentioned, does need quite a lot of luck if he wants to win the title. He does need to finish really in the top 2 in the race, really, to have any chance of winning the championship. As meanwhile, Jacob Tobler is now coming out onto the racetrack now then in the Mahindra, as he goes out onto the racetrack, currently lying in 15th position. And so far, only Kochi Chiang and Owen Carpenter are the only drivers to be over a second off of the current poleman Robert Ionescu. But you should expect them to maybe do an improvement a little bit later on, especially if they tuck into the slipstream or someone, because it seems quite clearly, Blake, that slipstream is quite powerful around here.
Yeah, and also very key to everyone's lap, but you need to use it sparingly, because Kochi Chiang was behind. Not just a Kumar, a Kusek. Even though he had the slipstream, he did not have a very good time. So basically you need to use your slipstream sparingly if you want to have a good lap around here.
Yes, indeed, as Tobler is going to start his second flying lap, as he's just coming out of the final couple of corners now. Then, will anybody be in his way by the time he starts his lap? Because there are still a few cars in the pits, as you can see on the minimap on the right-hand side of your screen. But Tobler about to start his second flying lap. There are cars coming out of the pits, as you can see on the right-hand side, but I think Tobler might just be able to get away with it, as he makes his way down towards the first corner. So Tobler should be traffic free as he now goes through into turn 2 now, then flips the car through the left and then through into the right-hander he goes as he now approaches the end of the first sector. Well, let's see what his first sector time is going to look like, and he's 800ths down on his personal best in the first sector and 2 tenths down on Robert Ionescu as he now makes his way through the right-hander before flicking it to the left to take him onto the outer layout of the circuit now then. As he now goes around the long swooping right-hander before making his way up towards the left-right chicane through the left and then through into the right-hander he goes now then. Now Tobler makes his way back onto the main part of the racetrack, and let's see what his middle sector looks like. He's 2 tenths down on his personal best and 6 tenths down in the middle sector, so I'm not expecting the Czech driver to do an improvement on this occasion, but we will wait and see. Through into the final 2 turns he goes now then, through the right and then into the last corner he goes, making his way onto the pit straight, and Jacob Tobler is now going to cross the line now then. And is he able to find some time in the last sector? Across the line he goes, and no he can't. He stays in 15th position. Carpenter about to start his next flying lap as he's currently down in last position. DeMau across the line, no improvement. He stays where he is for the time being down in 12th position. Tway's just started her lap, as has Razan, so has Andrioli, and so will Broster and Koenig. Here comes Aji Prazan, who's up on his personal best in the middle sector. Prblanco currently all the way down in 17th position. Let's see what the Indonesian driver is able to do in the Jaguar. Is this going to be a big improvement for him? Across the line he goes, and he does. He's 4 tenths quicker than Ionescu. Prblanco goes to the top of the timing sheets, but Ionescu is also on improvement. He's up on his personal best by 2 tenths of a second. But whether he can keep that up in the last sector, we shall see. Can Ionescu try and get pole back off of Prblanco now then as he makes his way onto the pit straight now then? The Romanian driver, can he get back to the top of the timing sheets? Across the line he will go, and no he can't. He only closes into 1 tenth, but Ionescu still improves regardless. Here comes Ross Denholm. He's currently now in 3rd position. Across the line goes the Scotsman, and he is not going to improve. 2 seconds off and stays in 3rd position. Jackson across the line, he will go, and he doesn't improve. He stays in 5th position. Leighton Aviar, can he improve? He's up on his personal best. He can, but stays in 4th position. No improvement on his position. Owen Carpenter is on improvement. He needs to because he's down in last. Carpenter across the line, and he goes up into 16th position. Shana Chue across the line, she will go. She remains in 19th position. Mohamed Razan's up on his personal best, and he goes into 14th position. Santino Andreoli, he doesn't improve, and he stays down in 10th position. Alex Broster doesn't improve. He remains where he is. Marva Koenig improves to go up into 7th place, but is Andreoli outside of the top 10. And they are these runs done with, but we have a new man at the top now. Blake Aji Prazan goes to the top. An impressive improvement for him, considering he was all the way down in 17th a little bit earlier on.
Yep. Yeah, that was improvement like by the Indonesian. He's not Robert Ionescu tried his hardest. He could not get the optimal lap time he needed to snatch that lap time away from him to get that provisional pole. But for now, 14 left on the clock. Present on pole position.
Indeed, in terms of the championship rivals, we've got Jackson up in 5th, Mocho in 10th, and Andreoli outside of the top 10 in 11th position. But if it were to stay like that in the race, then Andreoli would still win the title. Meanwhile, Coach John Cheong's teammate, that being Ross Denholm, is getting wheeled back into the garage. Owen Carpenter now making his way back into pit lane as we have just under 14 minutes to go in this qualifying session to determine the grid for the Manama Prix, the final qualifying session of the 2021 Formula E season, as Carpenter now will get wheeled back into the garage. And so the Irishman will be getting himself prepared to do another lap very, very soon, as the Neo of Jaswant Kumar is going back out onto the track, currently down on the back row of the grid in 21st position, just in front of Kochi Cheong's Mahindra at the moment, as Kumar now then making his way out onto the racetrack. There looks like there is some more movement in the garages now then, as Kumar makes his way through into turn 2, and then around turn 3 he will go, as Kumar preparing for his next lap. So far then, we're just over 13 minutes to go. This is what the grid currently looks like then. It's Prazan at the top, with Ionescu in 2nd, Denholm in 3rd, with Aviard 4th, Jackson in 5th, with Parachki in 6th, Koenig in 7th, with Broster in 8th, Kulazek in 9th, Mocho in 10th, with Andreoli in 11th, Kwan in 12th, with Decelli 13th, Dumel 14th, Razan in 15th, with Tilsley in 16th, followed by Carpenter 17th, Tobler in 18th. Then it is Ko Chung Cheong in 19th, with Chue in 20th, Kumar in 21st, and Kochi Cheong in 22nd. And last, as Kumar's just approaching the final 2 turns now to start his 2nd flying lap. As you can see on the dev panel, he's only done 1 flying lap during this session. As Kumar now they're making his way down the pit straight now then. As he now starts his next flying lap. There are still some cars moving into pit lane, so I wonder if Kumar is going to get held up on this occasion. As a DS Techeetah comes out on track, but Kumar is just ahead of that Techeetah. But there was a car that came out in front, but luckily Kumar's not going to get caught up by that car in front. So I think Kumar's just going to be okay for the time being, as the Indian driver will make his way towards the end of the first sector, and he's 1 tenth down on his personal best. So it doesn't look like he's on an improvement at this stage now. As he flicks it in for the right and then through into the left-hander now, then he will go using a bit of curb on the outside before he makes his way around this long swooping right-hander, then through into this quick left-right chicane now, then he will go before he makes his way toward the end of the 2nd sector now then. See what his 2nd sector is going to look like, and he's 1.3 seconds down on Prazan and 2 tenths off his personal best. So I am not expecting the Indian driver to be on an improvement at this stage, but we will see. Kumar now then making his way down towards the final corner to the pit straight now then. He will go. Can he find any miracle in the last sector? I doubt it, but let's see. Kumar onto the pit straight and across the line. He will now go. And can he improve? And no, he can't. He stays down in 21st position. Coach Cheong, I should say, the other Cheong brother, looks like he's also not on an improvement. He now comes across the line and doesn't improve. He stays down in 19th position. Here comes Jake Tilsley in the Jaguar. He's now going to cross the line. Can he improve? And yes, he can. He goes up into 3rd position. ANS currently splitting the two Jaguar drivers. Here is Enis Parachki in the Mercedes, as both the top 2 in the championship are now outside of the top 10 as a result of Tilsley's big improvement there. But Parachki now, they're making his way down towards the final corner now then, and he's not on an improvement at the moment as the Macedonian driver. He's currently in 7th place at this stage as Parachki now, they're making his way onto the pit straight now then, and Parachki is going to cross the line. Can he improve on his time across the line? He will go, and he doesn't improve. He stays where he is. Jacob Tobler across the line. He will go in the Mahindra, and he doesn't improve. Stays where he is. Michael Mocho is up on his personal best. What can he do? He's currently down in 11th. Mocho across the line, and he goes up into 5th. That's a big improvement there from the Portuguese driver, and that's P5 for Mocho at this stage. Kwan doesn't improve. He stays where he is. Demal, he's not on an improvement, and he stays where he is for the time being. Kulizek currently holding up current pole setter Aji Prazan at the moment, as Kulizek is going to cross the line. Prazan trying to go onto the inside, and neither of them are able to improve. Dominic Gicelli is up on his personal best, meanwhile, as the Italian is going to cross the line, and he goes up into 4th position. A big improvement there for Gicelli. Kochi Cheong is also on improvement. He goes up into 15th position, slots in front of Rafael Demal, as we now look at Ross Denholm, who's currently in 5th. He is not improving at the moment. He's 1.5 seconds down in that middle sector, as Denholm now then makes his way towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack now then, as Denholm makes his way onto the pit straight, and looks like the Mahindra is just peeling off into the pits there, but it looks like Denholm is not going to be on an improvement as the Scotsman crosses the line, doesn't improve, and he's way off the pace as a result of that, as Kwan comes back in, and so do most of these guys. But Prazan's at the top, but the big one to talk about there, Blake, Mocho up in 6th position, a big improvement for him there.
And Dominic Celli as well. He made a really good improvement as well. And also Jake Tilsley, don't forget him. He's also in 3rd place. So yeah, and also I apologize to him. I'm just literally, I feel a bit brain dead today, so I might spell some random stuff out here. So yeah.
Indeed, as with Mocho up in 6th, if it were to stay like that in the race, then Mocho would win the title by 2 points. But still, there's still plenty of time left in this qualifying session, and of course we still need to get through the race, of course, because things can still dramatically change in that, as the Porsche and Mohamed Razan, who's currently down in 17th position, is now making his way onto the track to do his 3rd flying lap now then. The Indonesian driver just makes his way out of the pit lane now then, as he just makes his way through into turns 1, 2 and 3. Through turn 2 he goes, and then into turn 3 will go Razan in the Porsche now then. He will now make his way towards turn number 4 on the racetrack now then. So around turn 4 he goes. Now through into turn 5 we go, as Razan now then just making his way around the long swooping right-hander through into the left-right chicane, so through the left and through the right as he will be preparing to start his next lap. Also on the track we have Brandon Jackson in the BMW i Andretti motorsport car there. So as they've now been joined by Santino Andreoli, and he'll be hoping he doesn't get any traffic by the time he starts his lap, especially given that his main rival Michael Mocho improved earlier on to go up into 6th position. But anyway, Razan making his way onto the pit straight. He's about to start his next flying lap now then, and just keep an eye on the right hand side to see if he gets any traffic. As you can see, there are cars coming out of the pit lane, but it looks like Razan's just going to get away with it again, so no hold-ups for the Indonesian driver as he makes his way into the first corner, missing the apex a little bit there, through into that first corner there, so that might compromise him a bit going through into turn 2. Let's see what his first sector is going to look like now then, and he's down on his personal best by 4/10 of a second, so yeah, clearly carrying a bit too much speed going into that first corner there was Razan. Is now going through into the outer layout he goes now then, as he will now come around the long swooping right-hander now then, making his way towards the quick left-right chicane, as both Audis are currently out on the racetrack as we speak, as Razan now then coming up towards the end of Sector 2, 1 second down on Prazan and 3 tenths down on his personal best in the middle sector, as now Razan makes his way towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack, through the right and then into the final turn. He will now go, as Razan now then makes his way onto pit straight now then, and Razan is going to cross the line. And what can the Indonesian driver do? And he doesn't improve. He sees where he is. A few cars behind, about to start up soon. Here comes Jackson, who's not up on his personal best, but he's only 200s down in the middle sector, so he could still recover it in that last sector and be on some kind of improvement, but we will see. Jackson currently down in 8th position at the moment as we speak, as he just makes his way out of the final 2 turns on the racetrack now then, and Jackson just makes his way onto the pit straight, and across the line will go Brandon Jackson in the BMW. And Jackson, across the line he goes, and he doesn't improve. He stays where he is in 8th position. Andreoli is up on his personal best. He needs to improve. What can the Frenchman do? Across the line he goes, and he goes up to 4th. That's a big improvement for him there indeed. He gets in front of Mocho on the grid, and that's P4 for Andreoli. 2nd and 4 for the 2 Audi drivers. Speaking of Audis, here comes Ionescu. He's down on his personal best. He crosses the line and remains in 2nd position at the moment. Here comes Owen Carpenter in the DS Cheetah now then. He's just coming down the pit straight now then, and Carpenter comes across the line, and it looks like he's had a woeful lap. I think he may have made a mistake, because he's 4.9 seconds down, and he has. He's made a mistake going into the final corner, as you can see, carried a bit too much speed and went off the track. So Carpenter's lap going in the bin there as a direct result of that. Tway improves, but goes up to 21st. The 2 Neos on the back row of the grid. Coke Chonchion doesn't improve, as Mocho has just started his lap to see if he can respond to Andreoli's time. Tilsley crosses the line, no improving. He stays in 3rd position. Broster across the line, he stays in 12th position. Kumar across the line, he will go. He's currently in last, and he stays in last for the time being. Koenig improves to go up into 9th, gets in front of Jackson. So the BMW's currently on the 5th row of the grid as Jackson makes his way back into the pit lane. Andreoli also coming back into the pits as well, as I do believe there are more cars out on track doing a lap. Here comes Aviard, who's up on his personal best. He's currently in 8th position. What can the English driver in the Porsche do? Aviard across the line. He will go now then. Can he improve? And he can. He goes up into 5th position there. So Aviard with a big improvement there. As Mocho is not up on his personal best, although he is getting some slipstream from the car in front. So whether he'll be able to gain a little bit from that car in front, we'll have to wait and see. Mocho now then through into the final 2 turns. He goes onto the racetrack now then. Mocho, can he improve on his time, as the BMW on the right hand side there peels off into the pits? I think that was Marvo Koenig there, but Mocho across the line he will go. What can he do? And he doesn't improve. He stays in 8th position, not able to respond to Andreoli's time there as a result. But they are those runs done with. But yeah, the biggest one to talk about there, Blake, Andreoli was able to respond to Mocho's pace there, and he's now ahead of him on the grid at the moment.
Yes, indeed. And also, Avion had made a good lap as well. So basically, everyone at Mercedes and Andretti must be absolutely furious.
Yep, indeed. As Carpenter will be making his way. He's in the pit lane now as we speak. Mocho is currently just coming back in. I think we should be expecting one more flying lap, I think, because we've still got just under 2 3/4 minutes to go. And Kwan wasting no time. He's going out there to do one more flying lap before the qualifying session comes to a close. The final qualifying session of the 2021 Formula E season. As Kwan now then making his way out on track now then. As Kwan makes his way into the first corner now then. And Kwan will make his way through turns 2 and 3 very, very soon. And now coming towards turn number 4 now, then he goes on the racetrack. As Kwan currently the only one on track, but it looks like I think there is some pit activity going on, as you can see on the mini-map on the right-hand side, who's also going to join Kwan to do one more flying lap. The cars need to get out before the 1:08 threshold, otherwise they won't have a chance to do a final flying lap, as Kwan just comes around the fast chicane, and it is Enis Parachki that has come out onto the track. So has Kochi Cheong, so has Dominic DiCelli, as Kwan now then making his way towards the final corner now then on the racetrack. Kwan through into the final 2 turns he goes, as the Vietnamese driver is about to start his next flying lap now then, or his final flying lap I should say, given that we've got just under 1.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Quan starts his lap. Is he going to get held up by anybody coming out of the pit? There is a Nissan coming out on track, as you can see. I wonder if that's going to compromise Quan a bit as he goes through into the first corner, and I think he might be held up here unless he can use the slipstream to try and help him out here as the Vietnamese driver goes through the third corner now then. Let's see what his first sector is going to look like, and he's 9 tenths down in the first sector, so I think already, even if he does get a healthy bit of slipstream from that Nissan in front, his lap is going to get compromised and he's not going to be able to improve. It looks like Quan is going to stay in around about 14th position. Quan is going to try and go for a move into the fast left-right chicane, but it's not going to work out. He's going to hang back for the time being as Quan now then makes his way down towards the final 3 corners on the racetrack. And yeah, I don't think Quan's going to improve. He's going to overtake the Nissan, it looks like, going down towards the final corner. That Nissan, I think, if I'm not mistaken, being Rafael Demal, but that's that. Quan does overtake, but it's not going to be enough for the Vietnamese driver to improve, as Quan is now going to cross the line now then as he makes his way onto the pit straight, and Quan is going to cross the line and he doesn't improve. He stays where he is. Demal just starting his lap, but I wonder if he's now going to get compromised by Quan. 7, 6, 5, 4, and then it's 3, 2, 1, and then 0, and checkered flag is now out, signifying the end of the qualifying session. Prachki is not on an improvement because he's getting held up, but the driver behind the Mahindra is on an improvement. I do believe that's Kochi Cheong who's on an improvement. Prachki gets by on the Porsche there, as Prachki now then makes his way onto the pit straight now then, and he's now going to cross the line, and Prachki crosses the line now then, the Macedonian driver, and he doesn't improve. He stays where he is. Kochi Cheong improves to go up to 9th. That's a big improvement there from the Malaysian driver. Decelli crosses the line, no improvement. He stays where he is. Prazan, the current pole sitter, he's down on his personal best by 6 tenths of a second in that middle sector, as Prazan now they're just coming around final 2 corners on the racetrack now then, as Prazan is now going to cross the line. What can he achieve as the Jaguar driver makes his way across the line, and he stays on a 1 minute 8.340. Kulizek across the line he goes in the Envision Virgin racing car, as the Czech driver now then making his way across the line. What could Kulizek be able to achieve? And he improves in the last sector, found time in the last sector to go into 14th, and that is qualifying done, and it is Aji Prazan who takes the final pole of 2021 in Formula E. So it is Prazan on pole, as we now take a look at the full grid then. So it's Prazan on pole for the final time this season, with Robert Ionescu in second, Jake Tilsley in third, 1-3 for the Jaguars, with Santino Andreoli in fourth. The top 4 consisting of Jaguars and Audis. Leighton Aviard is in fifth, with Dominic Decelli in sixth, Ross Denholm 7th, Michael Mocho in 8th, with Kochi Cheon in 9th, Marvo Koenig is in 10th, with Brandon Jackson, one of the championship contenders, outside the top 10 in 11th, and you can do the rest, Blake.
All right, thank you. And it's Paratsky P12, Alex Brosnan P13, Otto Kulisek in P14, Nguyen Kwan in P15, Rafael Demel 16th, Mohammed Razan in 17th, in Carpenter 18th, Joko Tobler, Ko Jong Cheong, Sada Trey, and Joshua Kumar, all in their own respective positions.
Yep, indeed. Well, we're just going to take a brief pause for the moment so that you can get prepared to get the grid sorted out for the race, because of course he uses a mistake rate, of course, for qualifying, so he's obviously going to need to change that one. So stick around, guys, because the race will be coming up on this stream as well. So be patient, and the race will be coming up. And in the meantime, I'm just going to get the tweet prepared and also send over the criteria for Yuri to you so that you guys can see it on the screen. So bear with. So I'm back, and I've just sent the criteria over to Yuri. So you'll be seeing that very, very soon indeed. But yeah, a very, very interesting qualifying indeed. And of course, for anybody wondering, of course, it is still currently 0-0 between Mexico and Poland because, of course, we're currently streaming this while there's a World Cup match going on. For anybody who is somehow not aware, the World Cup started on Sunday, and we've had a few games since. But anyway, enough of the World Cup. So obviously we have three contenders who are fighting it out for the title, and as mentioned, you'll see that criteria on your screen very, very soon indeed, and we'll go through it before we get to the race. Of course, this is not the only finale that we've got this week, because of course tomorrow at the same time at 4 p.m. GMT we'll have the World Champ Car title decider, where the two Penske drivers of Bruno de Barros and Bartosz Kloss will fight it out for the title. But of course, we've got two championships to decide here today, and that is, of course, both the drivers and the team's title. Of course, the team's title, I will keep you guys updated throughout the course of the race, of course. But the driver's title, you'll, as mentioned, for about the third time now. In fact, the criteria I've just seen is now up on your screen. So whilst we wait for Yuri to sort out the grid, let's quickly go through that criteria. So for Santino Andreoli, for him, he can afford to lose 5 points to Michael Moccio, and he'll still win the title by 1 point. And he can also afford to lose 19 points to Brandon Jackson, unless Jackson wins, of course. If Jackson wins the race, then it has to be 18 points, because otherwise Jackson can beat him on a countback. In terms of Moccio, two things. He needs to outscore Andreoli by 6 points, because he can beat him on a countback of wins. Moccio has 3 wins to his name this season, whereas Andreoli has 2. Moccio can beat him on a countback of wins, of course. So he just needs to outscore him by 6 points, and Moccio will win the title on a countback. And he can afford to lose 13 points to Brandon Jackson, unless, similar with Santino Andreoli, unless Jackson wins the race, then it has to be 12 points. Because again, Jackson can also beat Moccio on a countback as well. So that's kind of that. In terms of Jackson, he's obviously the outsider in this championship. He needs to outscore Andreoli by 20 points. However, if he wins the race, as mentioned, then it can be 19 points, because he can beat Andreoli on a countback. In terms of Moccio, he needs to outscore him by 14 points. Unless, of course, Jackson wins, then he can make it 13 points. Because like with Andreoli, Jackson can also beat Moccio on a countback. So, they are the 3 criteria to keep an eye on. Realistically, I think it is between Andreoli and Moccio for this championship. Because as mentioned, Jackson is a little bit of an outsider going into this. Because, of course, he's 19 points back from championship leader Santino Andreoli. So, I think realistically, it's between Andreoli and Moccio for the title. And given what we've seen in qualifying, if the result were to stay like that in the race, then Andreoli would win the title. But, of course, we've still got the race to contend with, and, of course, anything can still change, of course. And as we've seen plenty of times, especially last season, this track is known for being a bit of an overtake fest.
Yeah. You can tell by its long straights and its hard braking zones. First straight into a hard braking zone, second straight into a hard braking zone, and you get the idea.
Indeed, and it's obviously going to be very interesting to see. Of course, Moccio starts down in 8th. Of course, we've got Andreoli in 4th position. If it were to stay like that in the race as well, of course, then Audi would win, would be able to retain the team's title. But again, as mentioned, anything can still happen. Of course, Mercedes do need both of their drivers, both Moccio and Prablanco, to finish quite high, need to finish this race and finish quite well in the points, so they've got any chance of snatching the team's title off of Audi in this race, because they come into this 33 points behind Audi. So they do need quite a bit of luck, I think, if they want to win the team's title. But still, anything can happen, of course, in racing, and it usually does. So we'll have to wait and see, especially with the last few races when we thought Audi were going to win it, of course. Mercedes was still able to find a way of keeping their team's title chances on track. But we have now got the screen up on your screen. We've got 52 laps of action, of course, around this very, very short track. So this is how the final grid of the season looks like. We will go 4x4 for anybody who missed qualifying. On pole position for the 3rd time this season, it is Adi Prazan in the Jaguar with Robert Ionescu in 2nd. Jake Tosley is in 3rd with Santino Andreoli, the championship leader, in 4th position.
In P5, we've got the Porsche of Leighton Aviard. In P6 is Dominic Uccelli in the Nissan. 7th is Ross Denholm in the Venturi. In 8th is the championship contender Michael Macho in P8.
Is Kochi Chion, a very impressive qualifying for him in the Mahindra in 9th, with Marvo Koenig down in 10th. Brandon Jackson has got it all to do if he wants to win the title in 11th, with Anish Pratchki all the way down in 12th. A lot of work to do if he wants Mercedes to win the team's title.
In P13-14 on 2 versions of Alex Brosnan and Alexander Kulisek. Please do not take that out of context. Nguyen Minh Quan is 15th. 16th is Rafael Demel.
In 17th, we have Mohamed Razan in the Porsche. Not a very good qualifying for him. We're Owen Carpenter in 18th. Jacob Tobler starts in 19th with Koch Chun Cheong in 20th. And on the back row of the grid, Blake.
The 2 Neos of Sana Choi and Joshua Kumar. Very fitting.
Indeed. And we have a look at the weather, and no surprise, because we're in Bahrain, there is no rain for this race. Of course, it was raining last season, of course. Let's not forget here in Bahrain, but because it's quite rare in Bahrain, I think it's no real surprise that we have a dry race for the finale. So, pretty much we're all set then. So, without further ado, let's get to the final race. Let's get to the final race of the 2021 season. Who is going to win the title? Will it be Santino Andreoli, Michael Macho, or Brandon Jackson? And who will win the team's title? Audi or Mercedes? It is going to be very, very interesting indeed, as we are now on the grid for the final time this season. It is Prazan on the right of your screens. It is Ionescu on the left. Who is going to get the lead into turn 1 as we wait for the 5 lights to go on to signify the start of the final race of the season? The 5 lights are now on, and we are underway for the final time this season. And who is going to get the lead into the first corner? The lights went out pretty quickly, it's fair to say. It looks like a very good start for Prazan. Ionescu has not had the best of start. Tilsley has had an amazing start, and it looks like he's going to challenge his teammate for the lead going into the first corner. He has. Tilsley takes the lead of the race. He jumps his teammate. Ionescu has not had the best of starts at all, and I don't know if he's down to third or fifth. He's down to third. Andreoli has dropped a place. He's down to, in fact, he's down to 6th position. He's dropped a couple of places from the start, but he's still ahead of Macho, which is crucial as they all make their way up towards the 4th corner for the first time today. Denholm on the inside of Aviard, and he retakes the place for 4th position as Andreoli tries to get the place back. He's also got Koenig behind him. Koenig trying to go through as well, but not quite able to work out there as Macho has lost place in the start as well.
Where's Jackson? He's right now. I thought something happened to him.
Jackson, of course, has dropped a place in the start, so the championship contenders all losing a place at the start there as they all try to go side by side down towards that chicane, really, as look at this train of cars that is now forming behind, well, I don't know who that is in 8th place, but Pratchki trying to attack Kochi Cheong in front, who's just lost the place. Pratchki trying to look onto the outside if he can. There's a nearly contact there, but luckily they just about avoided each other. But Jackson could try and capitalise if he can coming out of that final turn as Tilsley leads the race at the moment, and it's currently a Jaguar 1-2 as we speak. But if we stays like this at the moment, Andreoli would win the title and Audi would win the team's title if it were to stay like this. As meanwhile, we look towards the back of the field. Oh, we've got a crash at the back. That's Rafael Demel. Demel is out of the race. It looks like he's been taken out. There's also been damage for 2 cars as well. A Neo and a Mahindra have come into the pits with damage, and I wonder if they've had a separate collision that it had something to do with Rafael Demel, but either way, the Brazilian is out of the race. Let's see what happened.
Alright, let's see. Demel. Oh, no. And then Cheong. Yeah. Yeah, Cheong just went a little bit on-sighted on Demel. I bet
I think that might be classed as a bit of a dangerous rejoin there for Rafael Demel. As in fact, we're going to have a look at the start from Sana Choi, because it looked like there was a little bit of carnage towards the beginning of the field. There was damage towards the back. It looks like Tobler clipped the back of Choi there going into the first corner. It seemed everybody kind of bottled out through into that first corner, and that's why they had to come into the pit. But yeah, I don't know if you'd class this as a dangerous rejoin for Rafael Demel or not. And it's a bit of a tight one, I think, there.
Yeah.
Well, either way, Demel is out of the race, and we are down to 21 runners. The first lap incident there as a few cars have come into the pit to change, to get some damage repaired. As Macho is trying to attack Ticelli for 8th position. He's actually gained a place on Cheon, of course, unseen by the cameras. But we have got yellow flags down at the final corner whilst they attempt to clear Rafael Demel's car, so they can't overtake into that final couple of corners. Otherwise, they will suffer the 5-second time penalty. And Macho has got to make sure he doesn't do that, of course, as he's on the back of Dominic Ticelli now. Then as they make their way into the final corner, and Macho's going to hang back as a result. So that's pretty much that. Meanwhile, the two Jaguars are into combat. Prazan is going to try and retake the lead from Jake Tilsley going down into the first corner. As Prazan sets fast in the race. Now Ionescu snatches the fastest lap back. Now Aviard snatches the fastest lap back. Lots of fastest laps. But either way, Prazan now takes the lead. The Jaguars have switched places.
Yeah, and also Tilsley lost a lot of time, so it could be an opening for Aubrey Ionescu if these two Jaguars kept on fighting. Meanwhile, somewhere at the back, Mocho is still chasing the Nissan, and Incubs is fighting for the Virgins.
Indeed, as the yellows are still out, as they are obviously clearing Rafael Demel's cars. His car is now being hoisted over the barrier, so the yellow flag should clear very soon, which they have. So now they are free to overtake each other again, going into that final corner, as the top three are still keeping each other honest at the moment. We know that Ionescu is lapping quicker than the two, because of course he set a faster lap than both the Jaguars, of course, before, of course, Aviard took the fastest lap away from him, as they now make their way down towards the final two turns on the racetrack now. Then as meanwhile Andreoli is on the inside of Ross Denholm. Can he get the move into the final turn? He breaks that a little bit later and he gets the move done. Andreoli up into 5th position, as meanwhile Tilsley has not given up yet on Prazan. It looks like the Jaguars are going to continue to switch places as they go side by side down towards that first corner. Is Tilsley going to retake the lead as Aviard sets another fastest lap? Down the inside he goes, and Tilsley retakes the lead from Prazan, as I think Andreoli is being attacked again behind in 5th position, as in fact Denholm looks like he's going to try and retake the place around the outside, and I think he's got the move done. Yes, he has. Andreoli moves up, drops the sip. Koenig tried to get by him there, but it didn't work out. So once again, Koenig having to back out, as now Dicelli is trying to attack him, and so is Mocho as well, who's right behind these two. He knows his championship rival is in front of these two, as Koenig now loses a place to Dicelli, as meanwhile the top three are very close into combat.
Yep, these four are absolutely gonna duke it out together. Let's see. So going on to the third straight now. The two of the Jaguars. Let's see, can Prazan line up a move against Tilsley? So Prazan gets the overspeed on the Brit. The battle of the Jags, and Prazan gets ahead of Tilsley. But on the second straight, Tilsley's going to have a massive advantage. But here's Robert Ionescu now, can have a go at the two Jaguars. These two could be caught napping.
Could try and make it free wide if he can, but he's just going to hang back for the moment as they make their way down towards that first corner. There's some side-by-side action going on in the background. I think that's a Mahindra trying to fend off on someone. Someone's into the pits, in fact. Someone's coming into the pits. I can see somebody is into the pits. Who is that? That's Parachki. The Mercedes is coming to the pits, so that's not going to help their T-tards at all. It's an electrical problem for Enis Parachki, and if Mercedes had any chance of winning the team's title plate, then surely it's gone down the toilets. Meanwhile, Aviard is going down the inside of Ionescu. Is Aviard going to get the podium off of the Audi driver? And no, there's a crash! The Ionescu's out of the race. Aviard has crashed into the side of him. He's got damage, and drama up at turn 4.
Yeah, indeed. Aviard went aggressive. So, Robert, it didn't even give Aviard any space. Well, let's have a look at that again.
I think Ionescu was entitled to that corner. I think that's all really on Aviard, if I'm being totally honest. I think Aviard's probably going to get a penalty for that, if I'm being totally honest, a time penalty.
Yeah.
Okay, confirmed by Yuri Marta. Aviard will get a 10-second time penalty for that crash with Ionescu, but that is Ionescu's season over with, and that's not the way he wanted it to end, that is for sure. And I think he's going to be absolutely furious with Leighton Aviard after that one, as now everybody is trying to go around the damage Leighton Aviard at this point. But it does put Denholm up into 3rd position. It does give the Jaguars now a very, very comfortable 1-2 at the front.
Yeah, and also makes the situation even worse because Aviard I'm not going to do it. Okay, so Aviard and Rob will be absolutely fuming at Aviard, and meanwhile Mocho has got past Koenig, and Koju is currently on the back one. Meanwhile, Jackson is catching up to this little wait, who's in the pits? Wait, who's in the pits?
That was Aviard. That's Aviard because he got damage. But, now Coach Chion is trying to go around the outside of Koenig if he can, as they go side by side down towards the first corner, but it's not going to work out. As meanwhile the two Virgins are going into combat, that being Broster and Kulazek, as they're trying to go side by side with each other, but it's not going to work out, as they've now brought the other Porsche into combat there. As now they come around turns 2 and 3 on the racetrack now. Then can Kwan get the move done on Razan up into that corner? I'm not sure, but the yellows have been cleared now from Ionescu as Jackson takes full advantage of that and goes up into 8th position. He gets the move done as Kwan also takes full advantage and gets by on Mohamed Razan to get up into 13th position. So, yeah, they're all taking advantage of that. Jackson up into 8th, but I wonder if Coach Chion will try to attack him back going into the penultimate corner here.
Yeah.
As it seems that Blake's having a bit of trouble with his microphone there because it seems to be crackling a little bit. But anyway, as we now look at Razan, who's trying to overtake Kwan. Going into that final corner, he's going to break that a little bit later. And, he basically didn't give him much space at all there. That was a little bit dirty from the, a little bit cheeky from the Porsche driver. But it's given Kumar a good opportunity to take advantage of this. And he gets by on both of them, I think, because it looks like that Kumar's just going to have the edge on Razan going into the first corner, which he is, unless Razan can try and get him back into the first corner, which he doesn't. So that's 13th for Jasper. Kumar does. He's going to dive it down the inside. Razan tried his best, but Kumar's just going to hang it around the outside and hold on to that place. And that was basically good. Basically Kumar just said thank you very much there, Blake.
Yeah, sorry about that. My desk is literally slowly falling apart.
No problem there, but yeah, that's Kumar taking full advantage of that little aggressive move that Razan made on I think that was it was obviously Carpenter. No, it was Kwan, of course, because we're looking. No, sorry. Anyway, moving on. As we now look at Carpenter, who's now onto the back of Kochi Cheong now. Then, as he's trying to get close, but it looks like Cheong's just going to have enough to stay in front for the time being. But I wonder if Carpenter is going to maybe go for a lunge down into the first corner if he can, as he makes his way out of these section of corners. The 2 Jaguars continuing to lead the way out in front now. Then is Carpenter now then all over the back of Kochi Cheon. Is Carpenter going to get the move done down to the first corner? He tucks up into the section. He's actually going to opt to go to the outside. We have seen some drivers go for the outside move in this race, but it doesn't work out for Carpenter on that occasion, as Kwan is actually retaking the place from Razan, but Razan's not giving up on him just yet as they make their way down towards the first corner. Now then can Razan retake the place from the Vietnamese driver heading into the first corner, and you know what? He can. He retakes the place from him, as Danon looks like he's having a very quiet race in third position. It looks like the 2 Jaguars are still keeping each other honest at the moment.
Yep. Those two want to have some entertainment / fun because those two are not really in the title fight, but still it will still be some good points for taking if it still wants to.
Indeed, as now look at this, Tilsley's about to line up Prazan for a move. Is he going to try and retake the lead from his Indonesian teammate as they go side by side down towards the first corner? Is Tilsley going to get the move done on Prazan down towards the first corner? They're both going to start lap 9 of the race as they now make their way down towards the first corner. Is Prazan going to retake the lead from Tilsley, or is Tilsley going to get the place? It's Tilsley who gets it. Tilsley takes the lead from Prazan, and once again the Jaguars have switched places.
Yeah, Prazan will have the slipstream. Well, meanwhile, Scotsman Ross Tenholm is going to needs to defend for his life against Santino Andreoli.
Yeah, I think Andreoli might be closing him up quite soon. It looked like Denholm had a bit of a poor run going through into the first couple of corners there. Just seen some overtakes that were going on down the field there. Looked like Razan and Kwan are still fighting for 14th position, as it looks like Aviad and Parachki, who both have issues of their own, are fighting for 16th. Of course, Aviad has that 10-second time penalty. Let's not forget, for causing that crash with Ionescu going down into the first corner. That's a little bit aggressive for the Englishman, but it looks like he's going to make it work, or is he? Because Parachki is still there, and Parachki is going to hold on to that place for the time being on the road, of course, because let's not forget Aviad does have that 10-second time penalty for causing that crash with Robert Ionescu. As meanwhile, looks like Prazan just hanging back a bit from Tilsley, going to let his teammate lead the race for the moment as they start lap number 10 of the race. In terms of the pit stops, guys, you should expect them around about lap 30 or so is when you should be seeing the mandatory pit stops come into effect in this race, as the gap is now 0.9 seconds. It's nearly a second now between the two Jaguars, so I wonder if Tilsley is now going to start to stretch it a bit from Prazan.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it looks like Andreoli is now close to the back of Denholm, as we're currently running on board with Ticelli, who's got a view of both of them in front, and it looks like Denholm is going a bit defensive. He can feel the pressure from the championship leader, Santino Andreoli, and looks like Denholm went a little bit deep going through into turn 4 there. Meanwhile, Kumar has taken 12th place off of Alex Broster just behind, but we're focusing on this fight for the final podium place between Denholm and Andreoli, as Andreoli taking a very interesting line. In fact, that's because Decelli is now actually right behind Andreoli. You can just about see in the mirrors. Looks like Decelli is trying to get the place off of Andreoli if he can. As these two, of course, let's not forget, they, I think, collided last time out at Dubai. Let's see if they can keep it clean this time. Decelli on the inside of Andreoli, and this time he does it cleanly with Andreoli and gets up into fourth position. But I wonder if Andreoli is going to try and get him back onto the pit straight. Let's see as the Frenchman now tries to tuck in onto the back of the Italian now, then heading down towards that first corner. But I think Andreoli is just a little bit too far back, so I think he's going to hold on. But meanwhile, look who is behind Andreoli. It's his nearest rival, Michael Moccio. It looks like the two championship contenders could come into combat very, very soon, unless Andreoli can find a way back through on Dominic Decelli in front as they come out of turn 3 now then. But I think Andreoli is just a little bit too far back as Kwan sets the fast lap of the race. Meanwhile, the two BMWs are going into combat for 7th place. Koenig, clearly no team orders at BMW, as now Jackson...
Careful, lads!
As they go into the right-hander, Jackson just had the overlap and gets up into 7th position there. So that's that. P7 for Brandon Jackson as Moccio tries to close in on his championship rival, Santino Andreoli.
Yeah, that was close from the BMWs. Could have ruined Jackson's race, but Jackson got extremely lucky. So, but for now, Moccio is slowly gaining on Santino Andreoli. But however, Andreoli is still having some healthy slipstream from Decelli, but then again, Decelli will have in turn slipstream from Denholm.
Yep, indeed. As they now come down the pitch, the gap between Andreoli and Moccio we can't quite see because we're currently looking at Denholm. Meanwhile, Koenig, unseen by the cameras, re-overtook Jackson, but it looks like Jackson's going to re-overtake him down into the first corner. Let's see if Jackson is able to get the move done into the first corner, which he does. So Jackson retakes the place from Marvo Koenig yet again. Looks like the BMWs are swapping places at the moment. It looks like Tilsley is now starting to pull away from Prazan because the gap is now 1.7 seconds between the pair of them. So it looks like both of them are now just starting to possibly settle into a little bit of a rhythm at this stage as Tilsley continues to pull away out in front. Of course, Tilsley hasn't won a race this season. He's looking to try and see if he can get his first win in Formula E. And I don't know if it will be his first win in the OC. I'll need to double check on that. But yeah, obviously Tilsley's had some bad luck this season, and so far he's hoping that the car can hold on to try and hopefully get that first win maybe or two. Meanwhile, look at this. The championship contenders are into combat. Moccio on the inside of Andreoli as they go into the final corner. Andreoli goes out a little bit deep. Moccio tries to find a way through but can't get the move done. Andreoli just going to hold on for the moment as it looks like they're both just going to have to stay single file for the time being. But the championship contenders are now into combat, Blake.
Yes, and those two are... And by the way, the race, the way that they're fighting... Oh, Duraf Denholm had a little bit of a moment there. He's gone a little out of shape. Decelli is now on the back of the Scotsman. I was about to say, those two are literally going to fight each other very, very hard. You're not going to see any clean racing between those two title contenders.
Definitely not. They're both going to be racing each other very, very hard because they both want to win this championship. That is for sure. As meanwhile, the battle for third still continues between Denholm and Decelli now then as they make their way towards the chicane. Looks like Denholm going defensive, going into the quick left right chicane. That could put him vulnerable to Decelli going down towards the final two corners. Decelli might have a run on the Scotsman here going down towards these final two turns. Decelli tucked up into the slipstream. He's going to look to the inside. I think this is going to be the move pretty simply. I think he's going to already have the overlap on the Scotsman going into the final couple of corners, and he does do indeed. Decelli up into third position, and I wonder if Denholm will try and get him back onto the pit straight. We'll have to wait and see on that, as just trying to keep an eye on the championship contenders behind. I don't think they've moved an inch at this stage, but Denholm trying to attack Decelli back going into the first corner. He's going to go to the inside. Moccio's still behind Andreoli as we speak as they go side by side down towards the first corner. Will Denholm and Decelli as Denholm going to retake the place. Decelli still around the outside of him at the moment, and Decelli is going to hold on to third, and it looks like he's going to get away because he's got the traction. But I wonder if Andreoli and Moccio are now going to close up at this point, as Moccio is still tucked up behind Santino Andreoli at the moment, as Andreoli going to defend into the fourth corner unless Moccio is going to try and go for a move, which he doesn't. Andreoli defends. Meanwhile, Moccio's teammate Prachki has just set the fastest lap of the race, so he currently holds on to those 2 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race as they now make their way around long swooping right-hander now then through into the left right chicane now then we go.
Wait a sec, I see a BMW.
That is Jackson. The three championship contenders are close together on track, but Macho's got to run. Andreoli going down towards the final two corners. I think he's going to get the move done. Macho on the inside of Andreoli. Can he get the move done on the Frenchman? And the answer to that is yes, he can. Macho up into 5th position. Here can Jackson also try and get through as well. It looks like he's got better traction compared to Andreoli, but I think Andreoli's going to use Macho's slipstream to potentially just stay in front for the time being, unless Jackson could try and get by him into the first corner now. Then Jackson looks like, look at the top end speed this BMW has got going down into the first corner. Could Jackson go that little bit later on the brakes compared to Andreoli? He's on the inside, but can't get the move done, and Andreoli holds on to 6th place, but Macho up into 5th.
That was a good move by Macho. He really needed that one. But meanwhile, Andreoli's got a little out of shape. Jackson's having a massive switch on the Audi, and he's just sailed past the Frenchman, and he's up into 6th place.
That was brilliant from Jackson. I thought for a minute there he had a little bit of a wobble going through the turn 2, but that might have helped him slightly, and he's got up into 6th place as a result of that, as they now make their way towards the left-right chicane. But Andreoli will try and get back on him. But at the moment, I can tell you, if things were to stay like this, Andreoli would still win the title by 2 points. So Macho still needs to do some digging if he wants to win the championship.
Yeah, indeed. Getting 4th or 3rd would have at the moment would be good. Meanwhile, Tillersley is just destroying Prazan.
Carpenter gets 9th place over Kochi Cheong going into the final couple of corners, as I think Kumar's not far behind these two as well, as the two Jaguars continue to lead out in front for the time being. But anyways, meanwhile, Kochi Cheong has not finished with Carpenter. He's going to go back onto the inside, going into the first couple of corners now. Then is Cheong going to get the move done? Down into the first corner he goes. Has he got the move done? And the answer to that is yes, he has, I think. And yes, so Kochi Cheong has retaken 9th place off of Owen Carpenter. They've now got Jaswant Kumar all over the back as he wants to try and get some points in the near if he can. But it doesn't look like he's had the best of traction compared to Carpenter. So I think he's just going to have to hang back for the time being, despite the fact that Carpenter decided to defend just a little bit going up into turn 4 there. The gap between the two Jaguars is now 2.6 seconds, so Tilsley continuing to pull away now from Aji Prazan as his beat as the top two have got quite a comfortable lead in front of everybody else at this stage, as it looks like Kumar having to defend a bit from the cars behind.
Yes.
As we now look at, we're now looking at Kulazek, in fact, and that was the driver who was actually trying to attack Kumar a little bit earlier on. It looks like Kulazek is going to try and find a way through on the Indian driver going down into the final corner, but not quite. It looked like Kumar just left his braking that little bit later and was able to hold on for the time being. Meanwhile, Jackson now sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:09.257, so now he holds on to the 2 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race. In terms of the team's championship, for anybody wondering, if it were to stay like this, Audi would retain the team's title as Kwan takes 13th place off of Alex Broster as they now make their way down towards the first corner, although Kwan does miss the apex going into the first corner there, but Broster not able to capitalise at this stage, as DeCelli looking very, very comfortable in P3 at the moment.
Yeah, unless he doesn't make a mistake somewhere, but for now he's in a good position.
Yep, indeed, as they now make their way towards the final couple of corners on the racetrack now then, as they make their way into the final 2 corners now. Then we go, as now we look at DeCelli is just going to start his 18th lap of the race, as Tilsley's already done that. We're on lap 18 of 52. In around about 12 laps time, we should be seeing the mandatory pit stop started, as now Razan is on the inside of Alex Broster going down into the final corner. Can the Indonesian driver get the move done? The answer to that is not quite. Looks like Broster's just going to hang it around the outside and hold on to P14 for the time being, but Razan might try and get him back into turn 1 now then, as they make their way onto the pit straight now then. Is he close enough to make the move? I don't think he is. I think Broster is going to stay in front for the time being. As you can see on the minimap, everybody just seems to be a little bit spaced out at the moment. So I think we could be maybe at some point during the race seeing the leaders potentially lapping some traffic in this race. But we'll have to wait and see on that, as Broster took a very, very deep line going in through to the first corner. But Razan not able to take advantage and has to hold on for the time being. Kumar still keeping Kulazek back for the time being. Just looking at the gap between Mocho and Denholm, meanwhile, it's around 2.1 seconds. The gap as Kulazek is trying to get Kumar into the final couple of corners. Can the Czech driver get the move done on the Indian going down into the final couple of corners. Let's see, he's got the slipstream on the Neo driver now, but has he got enough to get him into the final couple of corners? As Kumar already thinking going defensive into the final corner, as Kulizek going to try and make the move into the last corner. Kumar gives him the space, but Kumar able to hold on. But Kwan might take full advantage of this, and he does. He says, thank you very much. I'm taking P12, and it looks like he could also get Kumar here going down to the first corner, because look how much top-end speed the Tech Cheetah is pulling compared to the Neo in front. As can Kwan get the move done, or is it just going to be too much for the Vietnamese driver to get by heading into the first corner? And it looks like Kumar is going to hold on. Parachki gets the fastest lap back now from Jackson. So Parachki now once again holding on to those 2 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race, as now Kwan is trying to get back hold of Kumar in front. Kumar defending the inside, going up towards turn 4 there, and Kumar going to hold on, or is he? Because Kwan tried to fake it going into the corner there. That was nearly close to contact. Kulisic looking for any opportunity to try and get by as well. Kwan trying to hang it around the outside, not going to work out. Kumar just holds on for the time being as they make their way through into the outer part of the track now, then through into the quick left-right chicane we go. Can Kwan maybe line up Kumar for a move down into the final couple of corners now, then heading down towards the final 2 turns. Looks like Kwan's got a very good run coming out of that corner as they make their way down towards the final 2 turns. Is Kwan going to get the move done on Kumar? Heading into the final couple of corners, down the inside goes the Vietnamese driver, and he's got the move done. Kwan up into 11th position. Can Kulisic now get a hold of Kumar this time by? He's tucked up into his slipstream. He's going to look to the inside. Can Kulisic finally get the move done on Kumar on this occasion? He's tucked up. In fact, it looks like Kumar is going to go back at Kwan, in fact, so he's going back onto the inside. Kulisic just watching as a spectator, really, just behind Kumar on the inside, and he's going to retake the place, I think, unless Kwan can hang it around the outside, which he's trying to do, and he looks like he might do, but no, Kumar just going to hold on and take hold of that place again. Kulisic once again trying to get a hold of Kwan up towards turn 4 now. Then this battle still intensifying between the 3, but it's not going to work out, and Kumar still ahead of these 2.
Yeah, that's some good battles. But meanwhile, somewhere in the Middle East, Jackson's actually on the back of Macho.
I've just realised that as well. Looks like Mocho is going to have company. They're both also catching up to Ross Denholm in front, but Mocho may need to keep an eye on Jackson behind. Meanwhile, Kwan trying to get back at Kumar, going into the final couple of corners. Has he got the move done? Down the inside he goes. Has he got him this time by heading into the final couple of corners? Jackson now sets the fastest lap of the race again, and Kwan does retake the place from Kumar heading into those final couple of corners. Can Kulisic get the move done again on Kumar now then, as it looks like Kumar might still get slipstream from Kwan as a result, which might keep him in front of Kulisic, but I think Kwan has just got enough of a gap to stay in front of Kumar on this occasion, and he will do as Kulisic tries his best to get by on Kumar into the first corner. He's trying to have a go. This is going to be a risky move for the Czech driver. Oh, that was close, but luckily no contact, and Kumar holds on to 12th position, but Kwan has officially got by for the moment, as we need to look at what's going on in that battle for 5th place between Mocho and Jackson, as Jackson's still continuing to close him down. Same with Mocho on Denholm at the moment. The gap 1.1 seconds as we speak. I don't know if Mocho maybe started to get away just a little bit from the last time we checked, as just trying to have a look. No, still gaining at the moment. Still took another 10th out of Mocho on that occasion, as the 3 of them make their way down towards the final couple of corners. But if anybody joining, if it were to stay like this at the moment, Andreoli would still win the title by 2 points.
Wait. How many points is it for 4th, Joe? Wait, how many points is it for extra points at between? What's the points difference?
For fastest lap, it's 2 points. If Mocho were able to get Denholm, then Mocho would be leading on a countback, because of course Mocho has 3 wins, whereas Andreoli has 2.
All right. Thanks for the information.
So if Mocho can get by on Denholm in front, he would be in a championship winning position, because he has more wins, of course, than Andreoli. But of course, let's not forget, he still has Jackson to contend with behind. I mean, if Mocho also gets the fastest lap at some point, then that would also be a championship winning position. But we will wait and see, of course, as we continue to look at Celli, who's still got quite a comfortable lead in 3rd position at the moment to Denholm. He may have to contend with both Mocho and Jackson in a little bit. But anyway, as they now make their way down towards the first couple of corners, do the 2 Jaguar cars. Currently 2.9 seconds is the gap between them. at this stage, as we're currently around about 7 laps away from those pits. And now look at this. Jackson's all over the back of Mocho now, and we've got a fight for 5th position now. Jackson's all over the back of Mocho. Could he do Andreoli a solid here as they go side by side, heading down towards the first corner now then? Can Jackson get the move done on Mocho, heading down towards the first corner? Is the BMW going to get the move done down the inside into turn 1? No, not quite. Mocho just able to hang around the outside and hold on to that 5th position, but the entrance to turn 2 might get compromised a bit, but Jackson not able to capitalise, and Mocho holds on to 5th position as they both now lose a little bit of time to Denholm in front.
Yeah. So basically, at the moment, Mocho is literally screwing himself, but at the moment, he lost a little bit of pace to Ross Denholm and just made the situation even worse for him.
Yep, indeed, as we look at Broster now then, who I think just had a little bit of a lock-up going through into the first corner, as Parachki's trying to gain him down. Of course, the gap 1.2 seconds between the pair of them. Koenig was close behind Andreoli, but it looks like Andreoli is now starting to stretch the gap again to Koenig. It's now up to 1 second between the pair of them now then, as I'm just trying to keep an eye on the background to see what's going on between Mocho and Jackson. Looks like Jackson's not close enough at this stage, as DeChelli just makes his way through into the first few turns on the racetrack, through turn 2 and then around turn 3. We will go now then, as they will now make their way up towards turn number 4 on the racetrack, as we should be expecting mandatory pit stops in around about 6 laps time, so around about lap 30 onwards. Ennis, for anybody else wondering in the stream chat, 3.1 seconds now the gap between the two Jaguar drivers. As I'm just looking, the gap between Mocho and Denholm is around 1.9 seconds at the moment, as Jackson's still trying to keep up with him at the moment, as Andreoli has still got it to around a second between himself and Koenig at the moment, who might have to contend with Kochi Cheong behind very, very soon, as Tolesley starts lap 25 of the race. We're soon approaching the halfway point of this race. Once we get to lap 26, that will be the halfway point of this race here at the Bahrain Outer layout in Sakia, as now they make their way through into the first few turns, and they are coming up to traffic as I expected. Because of how short this track is, you should be expecting traffic. As meanwhile, Jackson once again attacking Mocho for 5th position, and it looks like he's got a better overlap on Mocho this time by, as they make their way down towards the first corner. Is Jackson going to get the move done on Mocho and do Andreoli a favour here, as Jackson sets the fastest lap of the race? Down the inside he goes, and he's got the move done. Jackson up into 5th place, but Mocho could try and get him back on the exit here, because he's left the door open, as we've got a yellow flag, and that's Razan. He's had a moment going through into the far corner with his own teammate Leighton Aviard. So rule 1 in racing, never hit your teammate, and it's very clear the Porsches have not got that message, but it's going to take a while for Razan to get by there, because he's got all this traffic to go by. He's going to take him a while to get back on the racetrack, I think, as the yellow flags are down at turn 1, on the last corner. So I think Razan's going to be a lap down, but Jackson has done Andreoli a bit of a favour there, Blake.
Yeah, because Jackson was battling hard with Mocho and Andreoli wanted on the back of him. Meanwhile, Koji Cheong is actually on the back of Koji Cheong is on the back of Marvin Koenig, sorry.
I mentioned this earlier on, is Cheong trying to get 8th place. They've also got Santino Andreoli in front of them as well, who's got a bit of a second gap to Koenig, but now Kochi Cheong is on the back of Koenig now. Can he get the move done? Heading down towards the first corner. The Malaysian driver is going to go onto the inside. Can he get the move done on the German heading down towards the first corner? He hasn't got quite the overlap, but can he get a little bit later on the brakes compared to the German driver? Heading into the first corner, he's going to get that little bit later on the brakes, and I think he's going to get the move done as they've got Carpenter behind, and he has. Up into 8th place goes Kochi Cheong and the Mahindra. Now, does he have the pace to try and close up to Santino Andreoli in front, as Carpenter is now going to try and attack Koenig up towards turn 4 now. Then he's going to look to the inside. Koenig doesn't put up too much of a fight, heading up towards turn 4 we go. Has he got the move done down the inside? And yes, he has. Carpenter up into 9th position, and Koenig has lost 2 places in the space of a couple of corners there.
Indeed. Very indeed so. Carpenter has gone past Koenig. Wait, did you just mention that? Oh, I'm complete.
Yes, I did mention that. We were reviewing it at the time. But anyway, so we have now passed the halfway point of the race, as it's roughly around a second now between Kochi Cheong and Owen Carpenter. 2.2 the gap between himself and Santino Andreoli, as you can see on the top of the def panel, as you can see, as So that's obviously something we'll keep an eye on down the bottom of the screen. We get chances. The pit stops are now underway because Brandon Jackson is into the pits for BMW, and so is Michael Mocho. So 2 of the championship contenders are in for their mandatory pit stop.
The boxing early trying to undercut Andrew would be a huge fit for them, and they get the strategy right.
Look at this. Mocho's got the jump on Jackson. Mocho's got the jump on Jackson. He had gouge advantage to Jackson. That is absolutely crucial for Mocho. He's got the jump on Jackson. So if Jackson wants to repass him, he's got to do it all over again.
Yeah, that's going to be absolutely frustrating for Jackson in the cockpit, but he has to get on with it if he wants to overtake Mocho.
Yep, indeed, as I think DeCelli will be pitting around about next lap because he's got around about 3 laps left. His race leader, Jake Tilsley, is now into the pits. He gives the lead briefly to teammate Aji Prazan, as meanwhile Carpenter trying to attack Kochi Chion. But Jake Tilsley into the pits for Jaguar as he puts on a fresh set of tyres, which should take him to the end of the race. It's an 8.5 second stop from the Jaguar mechanics. No hold-ups whatsoever. So let's see where Tilsley is going to end up after this pit stop now then. As we now look at Owen Carpenter now then. He's all over the back of Kochi Chion now then. Is the Irishman going to get the move done on the Malaysian, as it looks like his teammate Nguyen Min Kwan is going to be pitting at the end of this lap. As now Danny inside goes Carpenter heading into the first corner. Has Carpenter got the move done? The answer to that is yes, he has, as Kwan is now into the pits for DS Cheetah now then. As that's the move done for Carpenter, and now Koenig trying to get back at Kochi Chion if he can up towards turn number 4, as he's going on to the inside. The German, I think, has got the overlap going into the corner, and Kochi Chion, just like we saw with Koenig a couple of laps ago, has lost 2 places in the space of a couple of corners as they now make their way through into these sections of corners. Now they're through the right hands. We've got a yellow flag down at turn 1, and that's Leighton Aviard, and I think he's on the Jackson's had a moment into the first corner. Well, he wasn't outside of any. He wasn't outside of anyway in this championship, and it looks like he's just clipped the back of Aviard. And well, I think that's just really a racing incident, but maybe a bit of impatience from Jackson there, Blake.
Yeah, because Jackson got overtaken by Aviard by a couple of minutes ago. He got very frustrated, and he took all his anger out on him. Absolutely frustrated for Jackson now.
I think he might be a lap down because that was a Jaguar Prazan that just went by.
Yeah, he's a lap down. Yeah, that's his race over.
Oh, not yet, of course, because Prazan is still yet to pit, so he will be able to unlap himself a little bit later on. But unseen by the cameras, Kochi Chion actually re-overtook Koenig on track. As Andrioli, meanwhile, in the Audi is coming to the pit. So Andrioli is now into the pits, and meanwhile Koenig trying to attack Kochi Chion into the first corner, but can't get the move done and has to hang back for the time being. But as mentioned, Andrioli, the championship leader, is into the pits. On this lap now then, as here he is, he's finished his pit stop, 7.6 seconds. Where is Mocho on the racetrack now then? Just trying to keep an eye on where Mocho is. I think he's just crossed the line. In fact, is Andrioli going to get in front? The answer to that is no. Mocho's still in front for the time being, but Andrioli is right behind him, of course, because let's not forget, Jackson had his moment, and of course Andrioli was the car behind the pair of them, so it does mean he gains a place as a result of Jackson's little issues, as DeCelli is coming into the pits at the end of this lap.
Yeah, Shelley's going into the pits now. Let's see what time that Shelley would have now.
Indeed, let's see how quick the stop is going to be then from the Nissan driver. There's a couple of mechanics in the pit lane, as you can see, as they're pulling a fresh set of tyres and fuel, which will take him, of course, to the end of the race, because it's only one mandatory pit stop they need to do in Formula E. And let's see how quick it is. It's an 8.8 second stop from the Nissan mechanics. So DeCelli now then finishes his pit stop. Denholm is coming into the pits at the end of this lap for Venturi. As Prazan is also.
Wait. Does Denholm has enough battery just to make it to the pit stop? Because I think
it's a short track. It's a short track. Don't worry about it. But anyway, Kumar is in for Neo as. Obviously, he was fighting for points, 8.5 seconds from the Neo Mechanics. And so as a Tobler, I think his teammate's actually pitting at the end of this lap. But Prazan is coming in now, so he'll hand the lead back, I think, to Tilsley as a result. But Aji Prazan is now into the pits for Jaguar.
Yeah, let's see if he can make a normal stop. And also Denholm's coming in as well.
Yep, as Kochi Chion is coming into the pits, as he just put a lap there on, I'm not sure who that was. He actually put a lap on there, but he did lap someone.
And that's his brother.
I think it was Coach Chun Cheong, in fact. So, yeah, it was his brother. He just put a lap on his brother there, but he's pitting at the end of this lap. It's Coach Yon, as is Owen Carpenter. Meanwhile, Denholm's also been in the pits, so Tilsley should regain the lead, I think, or does he? Because he's only just got up into second, as Prazan got the jump back on Tilsley as they go side by side in the first corner, and I think he has, you know. Prazan retakes the lead from Tilsley.
Yeah, that's some good strategy called by Prazan, but let's see how long he does it to the tyres.
Depends really on how fresh those tyres are, but clearly staying out a lot longer was a lot more crucial than doing a shorter stint, it seems, as they make their way through into the first few turns there. Well, turn 4, I should say. Shana Chue into the pits, meanwhile, for Neo, as everybody's now just getting their mandatory pit stops out of the way, but can Tilsley try and re-overtake Aji Prazan for the lead of this race? It's currently still a Jaguar 1-2, but they don't want to throw away this opportunity, that is for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's hope these two can race fairly without testing being destroyed.
Meanwhile, Aviod, I think, is just overtaking Andrioli on track somewhere. As you can see as you can see down the bottom, I think he's just overtaking him on track, but he's pitting anyway, so Andrioli doesn't need to worry about him for too long. But Carpenter did rejoin in front of him, though, because he has pitted as Carpenter, so there is still a car in between Andrioli and Mocho. Meanwhile, Tilsley back on the inside of his teammate Prazan, heading into the first corner. Is he going to retake the lead from his teammate? And the answer to that is yes. Tilsley retakes the lead here at the Bahrain Outer layout as Koenig in the BMW has just come into the pits.
Yeah, indeed. Hopefully Prazan has a little bit more slipstream to get past the Brit or take Tilsley. Through this
through these section of corners now, then we go. As Carpenter, in fact, Carpenter didn't pit. I do apologise. He's just, or has he? I'm a bit confused. Did Carpenter actually pit? I'm not sure, because I did see.
Check it.
I don't remember it. I don't know if he actually did pit or not, because I don't know if I read the DAF panel a little bit wrong earlier on. But meanwhile, Andrioli is coming under attack from Tobler, who of course is still yet to pit. So again, doesn't really need to worry about him because Tobler is coming in. So he can just let him go, of course. As long as he's behind Mocho by the time everybody finishes their pit stops, he should be A-OK.
Yeah. So also Koju, who's not pitted, has pitted, is going to have a go at Andrioli. Trying to go for George Russell and Smooth, but Andrioli just says, "Yo."
Let's not forget as well that Kochi Cheong was actually trying to chase down Andrioli before the pit stop, so it's kind of a resume of that battle, you could say. There's Tilsley is once again, just like he did in the previous stint, pulling away from Prazan now as we speak, as Razan comes out of the pit lane. Tobler takes 8 from Koenig, but I think Tobler is coming into the pits at the end of this lap, if I'm not mistaken, and yes, he is. So is, I think that was Leighton Aviard there, so all these guys are going to gain places. Koenig has actually, Koenig's actually ahead of Andrioli as well. I think Koenig has made his pit stop, so that's another car that Andrioli needs to dispose. Meanwhile, Kwan on the inside of Kochi Cheong, meanwhile, and he gets the move done there. So Kwan gains a place from Kochi Cheong. So, of course, these lot were actually dealing with a little bit of traffic, and it seems that Kochi may have been caught out just a little bit there.
Yes, indeed.
Meanwhile, the gap is 1.2 seconds. Parachki, of course, let's not forget, he did have to stop a little bit earlier on because of mechanical failure, so we are expecting him to make a second pit stop quite a little bit later into the race. So obviously something there to keep an eye on. But in fact, he's doing it now. In fact, Parachki comes in for his second pit stop after he had to pit for a mechanical problem a little bit earlier on. But it looks like just trying to... as we see Dicelli now just going around the first few turns now. They're currently lying in third position and looking quite quiet in that position to try and get that final podium place. So he's got a 12-second cushion over Ross Denholm as we speak right now. As 1.6 seconds now is the gap between the two Jaguar drivers as we speak, as we're on lap 34 of 52 in this race here at the Bahrain Outer layout in Sakhir, as Parachki rejoins in 8th, just behind Santino Andrioli. So, I wonder if Parachki could maybe do his teammate a bit of a solid and try and get past him.
That'll be a good idea, and also Denholm is ahead of Mocho by 3 seconds.
Indeed, but if it were to stay like this, because I think Mocho is currently in 5th place. In fact, Parachki might have to deal with some other cars before we can try and close up onto Andrioli. He's got a group of cars behind him, which consists of Kwan, Kochi Cheon, and Jaswant Kumar as well. So, in fact, Kumar is going to try and attack Kochi Cheon here for the final points place if he can now. Then as they make their way down towards the final corner, he's got very good drive out of that corner. Kumar on the inside of Kochi Cheon, and I think he's going to get the move done pretty easily there. Kumar on the inside, heading into the final couple of corners, and he gets the final points place. Up into 10th place goes Jaswant Kumar in the Neo, unless Kochi Cheon could try and get him back onto the straight, as meanwhile Mocho is maybe closing onto Ross Denholm. Now if you can get Denholm, of course, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Jackson still has the fastest lap of the race, if I am not mistaken, or unless it's Prachki, I'm not sure. But anyway, hold that thought, because Kochi Cheon is trying to get back onto Kumar, heading into the first corner, breaks that a little bit later, and has he got the place back, or is Kumar still alongside him? Nope, he has got the place back, so Kochi Cheon moves back up into 10th position as we speak, unless Kumar could try and get him back up towards turn 4 now then. But he doesn't look like it, looking at the mirrors on his car, so Kochi Cheon will hold on to that 10th position as Tilsley has started lap 36 of the race. As meanwhile, Decelli just puts a lap there on, I think that was one of the Rocket Venturi cars. I think that might be Kochi Cheon. They would just put a lap on there, but he's got a very comfortable gap to Denholm, who might come under pressure from Michael Mocho very, very soon. And if Mocho can gain that place, again, I think Jackson still has the fastest lap of the race, if I am not mistaken. I think he still has it. Yes, he has. Jackson still has the fastest lap of the race. So if Mocho can get by on Denholm, he would be in a championship winning position. But catching him is one thing, passing him is a totally different thing.
Indeed so. Indeed so. You need to get a massive slip shield on the car ahead if you want to have a decent chance on the straights.
Indeed, as we now look at Decelli now then, who's looking very, very comfortable. The gap 2.1 seconds now between the two Jaguar drivers. I think both of them are now just kind of settling into a little bit of a rhythm and taking their time with the traffic, it seems, because they've both got a big gap to dominate Decelli behind, as we look at Kochi Cheon now then, who's looking very, very lonely.
And in other news, Ross Denholm is slowly dropping back to like a watcher who's slowly catching him.
I think we could have a battle for fourth very soon, which could be a championship deciding battle as well. But we will wait and see. I think that's them in the background, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. The gap is currently 1.6 seconds, but of course we will keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, Jackson is trying to make his way back up through the field now then, as he's trying to look at Kulazek for 12th position, and Kulazek not letting it go that easily. Jackson on the inside, has he got the move done on the Virgin driver? And oh no, there's contact between the pair of them. Looked like Jackson was a bit aggressive, but cheekily he does get the move done, and Broster gets through as well. But it looks like Broster's also going to take Jackson. Looks like more frustration starting to build onto Jackson, it seems, Blake.
Yeah, but at the moment, Jackson is not really the driver that he was at the start of the race. And now he's just doing some mindless driving at the moment. Hopefully, he doesn't carry that on. Now Jackson is going to go on his former compatriot Broster, still trying to hang it down around the outside. At the moment, Broster is still ahead of his former compatriot.
Now Kulazek is going to try and have a go at him for 13th position. Is Kulazek going to get the place back that Jackson aggressively took off him into that final corner? And he will indeed. Kulazek retakes 13th as Jackson's championship is slipping away a lot more. Of course, he was an outsider going into this race, let's not forget. But it looks like the championship is probably more than likely over now for Brandon Jackson. It is really between Andrioli and Mocho for this championship, as we're trying to have a look and see what's going on here. Is Jackson maybe coming under pressure soon as the battle for 10th still intensifies. Andrioli looking pretty quiet in 7th. I think he's just got to pray, really, that Mocho doesn't gain onto Denholm in front and get a hold of him for 4th position, as the gap is 2.3 seconds between himself and Marvo Koenig. 2.6 now the gap between Tilsley and Prazan, as Tilsley's about to start lap 39 of the race. Meanwhile, Jackson back on the inside of Kulazek now then. I think he's got the move done this time by Carpenter, looking to also take full advantage, and he does indeed. So Kulazek pretty much gets mugged into the first corner there, Blake.
Yes, indeed. He got absolutely just falling got cheated on.
Yeah, indeed, although Kulazek might try and get back onto Carpenter because he has got the slipstream up towards turn 4 here, as he's trying to flick it back to the inside, but it's not going to work. Carpenter just going to hold on to that place for the time being, as the gap's still 2.6 seconds between the two Jaguars, still keeping each other honest as we speak. But yeah, that's pretty much that. As trying to see on the bottom when the next timing screen comes on what the gap is like between Denholm and Macho. Just once the next slide comes about, it's 1.3 seconds the gap between the pair of them. So obviously that's a gap we will continue to keep an eye on because of course Macho knows that is a championship winning position in front, given that Andrioli is down in 7th place. And meanwhile Kulizek is once again coming under pressure, this time from Leighton Aviard, and it looks like Sana Chue, and I think that is Jacob Tobler as well. So more battling going on towards the rear of the field. Chue trying to go onto the inside, in fact, of Leighton Aviard, as Tobler just watching on to see if he could take full advantage. Chue trying to look onto the inside, not going to work, but Tobler could go all the way around the outside of Chue if he can, and that is a brilliant move from Tobler, and that's P17 for the Czech driver. Potential overtake of the season right there. That is a fantastic move from Jacob Tobler to get by on Sana Chue there and get up into 17th position, as it looks like the Jaguars are soon going to be coming up to lap these guys in just a little bit. So I wonder if Prazan could possibly take full advantage and close back in onto to Tilsley, if Tilsley has any trouble with that bit of traffic that's in front.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Tobler has absolutely just said Trey had skill issues. So so I think Tobler is going to have some good pace at the moment.
Well, Aviard's on the inside of Kulizek meanwhile for 15th, and he's got the move done. So that's P15 for him, on the road at least, because let's not forget that Aviard does have that 10-second time penalty for that crash he caused with Robert Ionescu earlier in races. Andrew Early's lost a place to Quan. Quan has got him. In fact, he's dropped to 8th, in fact. He also dropped another place to Parachki, and Macho is now in a championship winning position.
What the hell happened there?
Must have happened it happened at the final corner. Yeah, this was unseen by the cameras, but Andrioli's lost 2 places, and Macho is now in a championship winning position as a result.
Jesus Christ. Can this championship could get any more fantastically unpredictable?
Indeed so. So Macho doesn't really need to gain onto Denholm now, because Andrioli has dropped down to 9th place. As a result of all of that, Quan was slowly gaining onto these two as well, and he has also got the place off the Frenchman as well. And, well, it was a very aggressive move from Quan, it's fair to say, but a very clean move at the same time. And, well, Andrioli has got to pray now, unless he can get back at these two, he's got to pray that something bad happens to Macho now if he wants to win the championship.
Or even he needs to get a good slipstream on. Meanwhile, it's going to be free wide into the first corner. Everyone needs to be careful, please.
Keep it tidy. Thankfully, they did, as Kulizek's still on the inside of Aviard, and I think he's got that place back he has, so 15th goes back to Kulizek, as his fellow compatriot Jacob Tobler is now going to attack Aviard, and in fact he's also got Sana Chue to deal with as well, so Aviard could get mugged here by a few cars going up towards turn 4. That's Tobler through. Is Chue going to get the move done on the outside as well? Side by side they go, but Aviard's just going to hold on for the time being, as the gap is 1 second now between Denholm and Macho in this race now then. As now it's 1 second between Quan and Andrioli as we speak at the moment. But as things stand, Macho is going to win the championship if things stay as it is. Andrioli has got to hope something happens to Macho, or something happens to the 2 cars in front of him for him to get back into a championship winning position. As Aviard once again trying to attack Tobler down into the final couple of corners, which he does, so he regains the position on the track at least, as Chue is now trying to get back at Tobler now, then heading their way down towards the first corner. They've got the blue flag marker because I think the Jaguar of Tilsley is also right behind them. Yes, he is, but he can't be held up by them for too long, because otherwise Prazan could come up behind him and maybe try and get the place off him.
Yeah.
Oh, his contact there. Tilsley says, thank you very much. I will lap you there with ease, as there was contact there between Chue and Aviard. Thankfully, it didn't end in disaster there, but luckily Tilsley was able to avoid all of that was going on, as we look at Ticelli now, who's 7.5 seconds back now for Maggi Prazan. I think he has been slowly gaining on him, but not enough to the point where he could be a threat to him towards the end of the race now then, as we now look back at Tilsley. He's still having trouble trying to lap these guys as they make their way through into the left-right chicane now then, as now come out of the corner. Tilsley now puts a lap on Aviard, going down towards the final couple of corners. Prazan's still yet to lap these guys. He did gain a little bit though from all that. He did gain 2 tenths. He's now down to 2.4 seconds, mainly because Tilsley's been busy negotiating all of this traffic. But I don't think he's lost too much time as Jackson trying to go onto the inside of Broster, and he's got the move done. So he makes his way up into 12th position. Jackson still holds on to those bonus points, and not forget, for the fastest lap of the race. So even if he doesn't finish in the top 10, he'll still get a couple of points for the fastest lap. But his championship is already over, as we know, thanks to all the trouble he's had in this race, as he's still having to go a little bit defensive from Broster there. But Jackson does hold on for the time being. As just trying to see what's going on between Denholm and Mocho, meanwhile, because the last time we checked, it was around about 1 second, I think, between the pair of them. But we haven't seen the pair of them on track for quite a while now, for some reason. So the gap is actually 7 tenths, so it is quite close now between Denholm and Mocho in the fight for 4th position. So I think we could be seeing a fight between these two very, very soon. Of course, Mocho doesn't want to do anything stupid, otherwise he could throw his championship away by doing that. As meanwhile, Prachki has got Koenig for 6th position into the first corner. So Prachki is up into 6th position. In terms of what that will do for the team's championship, just trying to work out in my head, because they're both now 5th and 6th on the road, 18 and 2. It's not going to be enough, of course, because they need a lot more points to gain onto Audi. So as things stand, even though Mocho will win the driver's title as things stand at the moment, Audi will retain the team's title at the moment. But we will wait and see, of course. If we look at Tilsley, who's once again having to negotiate traffic, having a bit of trouble trying to lap Jacob Tobler here, who could come under pressure from Leighton Aviard. And Aviard says, thank you very much. I'll take that 16th place off of you. As in fact, look at this. Sana Chue taking full advantage of this and gets up into 16th position. As now Prazan is now with this traffic, and it's now his turn to deal with all this traffic that Tilsley's had trouble dealing with.
Yeah, Prazan literally just said hello. And now I think not everyone's gonna let Prazan through, but at the moment, Prazan's just gonna. Ooh, yeah. I think Prazan's gonna get. I think I think someone is gonna unlock Prazan.
Yep. Potentially indeed. As meanwhile, what is the gap now between Denham and Mocho in the battle for 4th position? Now then, what is the gap now? As it is now. Well, it's still around about 7 tenths between the pair of them at the moment. So Mocho didn't really gain too much onto Denholm at that point in time. As meanwhile, just behind, you can see that Tobler is getting by on Leighton Aviard there for 17th. And he gets the move done into the first corner. Didn't even need to wait.
Andreoli is actually way off. He's way off Quan. So on position, Kumar is another position. It's literally just game over for Santino Andreoli.
Let's not jump the gun just yet, Blake. This isn't Brazil 2008. So we now look at Aviard, who is, in fact, it looks like Tobler actually unlapped himself at the expense of Prazan there. So I don't think Prazan's going to take too kindly to what Tobler just did there. But I think he's going to lap him this time by going down the back straight. As, in fact, could Aviard actually unlap himself at the expense of Prazan? I think he's going to get slipstream of the Jaguar driver, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get a hold of Prazan, I don't think. And the answer to that is, well, he's going to have a go, but I think Prazan's just going to tell him to go away on that occasion. Aviard tried to unlap himself, but not going to work out. So Prazan seems to be having more trouble with this traffic than what Tilsley did. As meanwhile, that's actually, in fact, Chelly's caught up to Prazan in all of this. So whilst the Jaguars have been trying to get through on the traffic, the Chelly has been slowly gaining onto Prazan in all of this, as he's just got through onto Chelly there, and he's now right behind him as a result. So we've got a fight for 2nd place between Prazan and Chelly.
Chelly, as I knew the Prazan getting held up, I knew Chelly will be arriving on the scene soon. I didn't expect him to get arrive on the scene that quickly.
Indeed. Meanwhile, look at this. Mocho's on the inside of Denholm. This is the battle for P4, and he's got the move done. Put Mocho up into 4th position. He was already in a championship. Winning position, but now he's got himself into a much more healthier place. He's got 4th place off of Russ Denholm.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Kumar could have another Grim Reaper in the back of Andreoli's back if he overtakes him.
Indeed, as Coming out of the final couple of corners, looks like Decelli's not close enough on Prblanco on this occasion. Maybe Prblanco maybe starting to get away a bit from the Nissan driver. The gap 0.8 seconds the last time they went through a sector point, as Tilsley still having to deal with some traffic in front. Meanwhile, we got Carpenter, who's all over the back of Alex Broster in the fight for 13th position. Is Carpenter going to get the move done up towards turn 4? The answer to that is no. Broster's just going to hold on for the time being as they make their way through into the S's now. Then as Tilsley makes his way through the right-hander, as now they come around the section of corners through the left-hander, and now towards the very quick left-right chicane we will soon come up towards. As now through the left and then through into the right-hander. 7.3 seconds the gap between Tilsley and Prblanco. That just shows how much Prblanco has been held up by all this traffic in this race, as Tilsley was able to pull out quite a comfortable lead out in front, as he's soon going to be starting lap 48 of the race very, very soon. So we will have 5 laps to go when he crosses the line, as Decelli now then currently he's actually still around 7/10 behind Prblanco at the moment, as they make their way through into the final couple of corners, as we will have 5 laps to go. Yep, 5 laps to go for race leader Jake Tilsley in this race now then, as he makes his way towards the first corner now then, as they make their way through into the section of corners. Decelli still trying to get a hold of Prblanco in front as we speak, as the gap is still roughly around 0.8 seconds, although Prblanco did miss the apex going into the first corner there, but it looks like he had better traction coming out of turn 2 than what Decelli did, so it's going to keep him in front for the time being, as they now make their way up towards turn number 4 now, then through into the left-hander now, then we go, as currently now the gap is 7 seconds now between Tilsley and Prblanco, as now Mocho is now pulling away from Denholm as we speak. The gap is now up to 1.3 seconds. Again, if anybody just joined us, if it were to stay like this, Mocho would win the championship and Audi would win the team's title just about. So that's pretty much that really, as they now make their way towards the final couple of corners now then, as they now make their way onto the pit straight, as 4 laps to go now for race leader Jake Tilsley in the Jaguar now then, as Prblanco and Denholm and Decelli are still working around the traffic, as it did go up to 1 second briefly between the pair of them, but now it's back down to 8/10 as they're once again coming up to some more traffic in front, as now coming around turns 2 and 3 we will go now then on the racetrack, as meanwhile Kulizet trying to unlap himself, in fact at the expense of Tilsley, who I think has just lapped him there. So meanwhile Kumar is on the back of Andreoli. Meanwhile the gap is 0.6 of a second between Andreoli and Kumar, so we could be seeing another place being lost here for Santino Andreoli, as he's got the Neo of Jaswant Kumar right behind him now. Then as the Indian driver is right in the slipstream of Santino Andreoli, and well, he's not close enough on this occasion, but he could potentially get a run up towards turn 4. Could he maybe dive it down into the first corner? He's going to try and have a go. Oh, bit of contact there. Could be a bump and run here, as Andreoli's been sent wide, and but Andreoli's just going to hold on for the moment, so Kumar not able to get a place. They've also got Kochi Cheong right behind Andreoli. He could find himself out of the points here if he's not careful. It's Cheong trying to have a look on the inside, not going to work, because Kumar trying to look on the inside of Santino Andreoli into turn 4, not going to work. 3 laps to go for Jake Tilsley as well. Poor traction there from Kumar. Kochi Cheong says, thank you very much, I'm taking 10th place with ease there. So Kochi Cheong back into the points as he's now on the back of Santino Andreoli as they make their way through the quick left-right chicane now then on the racetrack, as they make their way down towards the final couple of corners now then on the racetrack, as here comes Kochi Cheong, who's now on the inside of the Frenchman Santino Andreoli. Andreoli's championship could be slipping away here as we speak, as they make their way into the final corner. Parachki now sets the fastest lap of the race, so he takes the bonus points away from Jackson, but up into 9th place goes Kochi Cheong in the Mahindra, and now Kumar is going to try and attack Andreoli to push him out of the points. As a result, Kumar on the inside, surely he's got the move done down the inside, as it looks like he's got the overlap going into the first corner. Andreoli trying his best to hold on, but it's not going to work. Kumar up into 10th place as Quan is taking 7th from Koenig, unseen by the cameras. In fact, Andrioli trying to hang it around the outside, and he holds on to 10th from Kumar as a result. So, nice try, Kumar, but it didn't work out. Tilsley has started the Bernard race. Meanwhile, Tichelli's on the inside of Prazan. He could wreck Jaguar's chance again. They 1-2 in this race now. Then Tichelli on the inside of Prazan, going down towards the first corner now. Then we go. Has Tichelli got second place? Abavanji Prazan into the first corner, and yes, he has. Tichelli up into second place. He splits the two Jaguars. A chance of a 1-2 could be down the toilet unless Prazan can try and get him back. It looks like Prazan's still got a run on him up towards turn 4. Can Prazan get the move done? On Tichelli, trying to flick it back to the inside. Can he get the move done? On Tichelli, down the inside. They're going to stay side by side, going through into turn 5. Tichelli just holds on for the moment. Parachki sets another fastest lap of the race, but it's not going to be enough to win the team's title because they need around about 33 points or 34 points to overhaul Audi, and they're not doing that on Mercedes at this stage because he'll have 10 points along with the 8 points he'll get for 6th, and you add that to the points that Mocha's going to get. 22.
Excuse me, Presti's actually catching Ross Denholm actually.
Is indeed. He could get another place, but Jake Tilsley has started the final lap of the race and the final lap of the 2021 Formula E season, and it's just been a brilliant race from Jake Tilsley from start to finish. Had a little bit of a fight with his teammate Prazan at the start of the race, but he held his own, and despite all the bad luck that he has had this season, he is looking good to take his first ever Formula E win here at the outer layout of Bahrain. Somebody actually pointed out, in fact, that Tilsley actually topped the pre-season test here at Bahrain when we ran around the Grand Prix layout. So it must be a thing with the Bahrain International Circuit that seems to suit Tilsley's driving style no matter what layout that we use. But anyway, Tilsley just coming around the medium speed corners for the 52nd and final time now then as he makes his way down towards the final 2 corners on the racetrack now then, as Tilsley is just coming up towards the final couple of corners now then. He has done an amazing job in this race. He's had bad luck, but he's finally going to get rid of that bad luck, and Jake Tilsley is going to win the Manama ePrix and take the final win of 2021. A brilliant drive for Jake Tilsley, his first win in Formula E, and fully deserved indeed. There's an engine's blowing for a Virgin at the background. That is Wojciech Kulizek, but I think he's just going to cross the line. Trey takes 15th. Kulizek is not going to be 16th. He's going to be 17th because Tobler got him. Tichelli takes 2nd. Prazan in 3rd. And we need to wait for someone to cross the line 7th before we can confirm that Mocho is champion, as Razan crosses the line in 19th. Coach on Cheon crosses the line in 20th position. B20 goes to him. Mocho crosses the line 4th, but we need to wait for someone to cross the line 7th before we can officially confirm it. Mocho 4th. Pirachi did get 5th in the end. He crosses the line in 5th. Denholm in 6th. And there you have it. Quan crosses the line in 7th. That means that Michael Mocho is the 2021 Formula E champion. He has done it. Mocho has achieved his target and is the 2021 Formula E champion. What a comeback story for the Portuguese driver. Andrioli crosses the line in 10th. Audi have won the team's title, but they haven't got the double. Audi only take the team's title in this race. Mocho is the driver's champion. Carpenter crosses the line in 13th position. It's 14th for Alex Broster. Tilsley is your winner, but the man of the moment, it is Michael Mocho. He is the champion of 2021. Well done to him indeed, and a brilliant, brilliant comeback from the Portuguese driver. And, well, that is that really. So, here is your final results of 2021. Jake Tilsley is the winner with Dominic Tichelli in 2nd, Adi Prazan in 3rd, with Michael Mocho, the new champion, in 4th, with Anis Paratsky in 5th. Ross Denholm is in 6th, with Nguyen Minh Quan in 7th, Marvo Koenig in 8th, Koti Chion 9th, with Santino Andreoli in 10th. He just misses out on the title. Audi retained the team's title, but that's not going to be on the minds of Audi, that's for sure. Jaswant Kumar just misses out on points in 11th, and you can do the rest, of course. Blake.
One thing for certain, that's send 44 into Raptors, but apart from that, P12 Brandon Jackson, P13 Ian Carpenter, P14 Alex Broster, P15 Sana Chue, P16 Jacob Tobler, P17 is Kulasek, P18 is Leighton Aviard, P19 is Mohamed Razan, and P20 is Ko John Cheong. And the 2 DNS is Robert Ionescu and Rafael Damal.
Indeed, of course, Aviard does have a 10-second time penalty, let's not forget. So I will double check in a little bit to see where he actually finished, whether he stayed in 18th or not. But Prachki does get the bonus points for the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 8.679, just over 800s quicker than Brandon Jackson in the end. And let me just quickly double check to see if Aviard does stay in 18th or whether he drops back in the order or not. But, let's quickly have a look and see if he does stay in 18th or he drops back, because of course he did have that 10-second time penalty. Just having a look on the stream now. No, he drops behind Aviard, so he doesn't finish 18th. Coach on Cheong, did he get ahead as well? And the answer to that is no, he didn't. So Aviard only loses 1 place. So Razdan is 18th, and Aviard is in 19th position thanks to his 10-second time penalty. But there you have it then. That has been it from the Manama Prix, and that is it from the 2021 GP4 Formula E Offline Championship. A very, very exciting season. The first season that the cars have not been equal, and it has been a very, very enjoyable season. Congratulations to Michael Mocho on becoming the 2021 Formula E champion, and congratulations to Audi on retaining the team's title indeed. And yeah, that has been it from Formula E in 2021. Of course, tomorrow we will have the World Champ Car title decider between Bruno de Barros and Barges Kloss at the same time of 4 p.m. GMT, so look forward to that. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it, so thank you all for watching. I've been JW97, he's been Blake Moore, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Goodbye.